All right, well, this is episode 1 of Twisted Tapes, which I have no idea what the point of this podcast is quite yet, but my name is Corey Bergstrom, also known as 8Track Online in the world of streaming and gaming and all that cool stuff. I guess first thing I want to talk about really is, like, me? Like, why I'm doing a podcast that's, you know, everybody's doing podcasts. Maybe that's why. I don't know. But, yeah, anyways. This being the first episode, I'll give kind of an introduction to myself and to the point of this. So yeah, let's just get into it, I guess. Like I said, my name is Corey. Served in the Army for 5 years now. Before that, I worked at a couple of different restaurants growing up. A lot of my childhood was all in New Hampshire, up in the northeast of the U.S. For those of you that don't know where that is. I moved to Florida at around the ages of 11 or 12-ish, I think, and spent the rest of my teenage time there. And then at 18, I joined the Army and went through basic training and all that cool stuff. And then after that, went to Virginia to learn how to be a helicopter mechanic, which is what I do now. I work on Apaches. And then my first duty station was the island of Oahu in Hawaii at Wheeler Army Airfield. So, and I spent 3 years there. And then during my time there, I got I got this crazy opportunity, which is what I do now, but to commentate esports for the U.S. Army's esports team, which is what I do now in Fort Knox, Kentucky. So obviously, been a lot of places, seen a lot of cool stuff in the world of gaming and some cool stuff as well on the side of the military. So first off, I guess we just talk about the whole gaming stuff. I've been streaming on Twitch since 2014, where I started a channel called The Eighth Mile, which obviously is an Eminem reference. I used to rap battle people in a game called DayZ, which is like a survival game. Where you can like go around and pretty much open world, so the whole world you can go throughout. The world's the size of like a small country, and do whenever you want, really. And used to rap battle people, just random people that I met in there. The game has proximity chat, so that you know when you're talking to someone, your voice is quieter the farther away you are from them. If that makes any sense. Then obviously, if you're too far away to hear someone, you won't hear them at all. So I used to do a lot of messing around in that game, and and that was where I got the 8th Mile from. So, because I rapped like Eminem, and he has the move. You get it. Anyways, and then down the road from that, I got into some more competitive games, playing CS:GO, and Overwatch, and all those cool games. And then back in 2018, I got raided by Shroud, who's a big CS:GO streamer, and that completely changed streaming for me. You know, I got a lot more people watching me and a lot more people expecting different games out of what I played, and I kind of leaned into that and did a lot more competitive stuff. And in doing so, I learned a lot more about other games, which is why I'm a caster now, a commentator, because I played CSGO, and I got an email like everybody else did about the esports team being a thing, and everybody was all interested in that. Like, what's that all about? And of course, I saw it and I thought the same thing. What's this? I like video games. And this is in 2019, I think. And I joined the Discord and talked to all the people and everything, and they asked for some casters, which I'd never really thought about doing before. But I said, yeah, I'll do it. So I jumped in there and started casting, and apparently somewhere down the line, someone thought I was doing a good job, so I got asked to be the caster for the team. And after casting a couple matches over the following months, I eventually got a call from the guy in charge of the esports team. If you're military, you'll know them as the NCOAC of the team. And he asked if I wanted to come out to Fort Knox full time. And it lined up perfectly because I was actually going to be moving to Fort Lewis, Washington, which is about an hour south of Seattle, up in Washington State. And I already had all my stuff backed up. We were already going to be moving. So the Army just changed my station from Joint Base Fort Lewis McChord, I think it is, JBLM, to Fort Knox, Kentucky, which is where I am now. And then, coming to Fort Knox was like, it was crazy. It didn't like hit me for a while that I was actually going to be, playing video games or being a part of video games as a full-time job for the first like little while until I got here. And that was like, hey, what are we doing today? And it wasn't, oh, we're going to go wash a helicopter. We're going to go turn some wrenches. It was video games, which is really big change of pace for me, which was kind of like a bit of a culture shock in a sense. So yeah, that's what I do now. So, I don't know, I guess probably talk about like the point of the podcast. I've always wanted to do a podcast. I've done one in the past, which was the Dumbstruck podcast with a couple of my buddies and everything. But I don't know, it kind of sucks relying on other people and with my inconsistent schedule that I had at the time, being in the field for months or doing this or that for the Army. I just thought that doing my own thing, being able to record this whenever I wanted to, and be able to write down and talk about whatever I want to is something that I'm totally into. So that's kind of the whole plan for the podcast is once a week I'm going to sit down either by myself, maybe with a guest if I can get anybody that wants to talk, and just record it and put it out and see what you guys think. And yeah, so that's kind of the whole thing. And it's called Twisted Tapes because my name is 8Track Online, and 8Track is a tape, so yeah. I also didn't want to like make it so that the podcast is like themed around one thing or another. So I didn't want to name it like something to do with gaming or something to do with the military or whatever. I figured Twisted Tapes is nice and in the middle so I can do whatever I want with it. And, we can talk about news, we can talk about this, or we can talk about that or whatever. And yeah. So yeah, that's pretty much the introduction for it. I didn't really have a plan for what we're going to talk about today, but I mean, that's kind of the point of the podcast, though. I figured 30 minutes would be good for a first episode, maybe an hour. I don't even know. I guess we could tell you about my family, I guess. I don't know. I'm married with 2 children, aka my cats, Kurt and Roxy, which neither of them are in the office right now, but they usually hang out just off camera. Speaking of which, if you guys are listening to this on like Spotify, I'm also doing a video version on online. And if you're like me and you're like, I don't really give a shit what you look like, I just like your voice, then just keep listening on wherever you're listening to, and yeah, just do that. Anyways, I don't really know what else we talking about. I guess plans. I have a little like notepad open on the side here that has just like random shit that I put down. I didn't like plan this podcast at all. Like this first episode was not planned at all. I just literally was like, I'm just gonna record it. We're just gonna do it, get it out of the way, kind of see how I feel about it. And this is attempt number 1. I don't know how many different attempts there's going to be. There might be some weird stuff cut together to make a whole podcast. I don't know. We'll kind of see how it goes. But yeah, that's that. Anyways, so I was talking about family, I think, right? So, like I said, I'm married with 2 cats. Not married to 2 cats, but I'm married to a woman and I also have 2 cats. Yeah, that's a good way to put it. Her name's Grace. She's asleep right now because it is 5:30 in the morning, and I decided to record a podcast because that's how my brain works. Very, very random, just like randomly having ideas to do things and all that. So yeah, that's that. We're 5:30 in the morning recording a podcast. Wife is asleep. I'm in my office. I was playing some video games earlier, and yeah, we're doing this. Anyways, so wife, 2 cats, goddamn it, ADD. All right. I grew up with just my dad. My mom left when I was like 2. I haven't seen her in like, how long has it been? Like 21 years now? We'll call it 20 years. She's just one of those weird situations where, I don't know, she just gave up when I was younger. Grew up with my dad, very lucky to have my dad. He played both roles very well, went through some craziness in the middle of my life that I think I'll save for a different podcast. We can talk about all that. And here we are. So just hanging out in Fort Knox, Kentucky, like I said. Been like all over the place as well with the military and with gaming. I think my first trip I ever did by myself was to San Antonio, Texas for PAX South back in 2017, I think. And I got to meet a whole bunch of people that were video gamers like me, which is like my first ever meeting of people from the online space, which was awesome. That was amazing. And ever since then, I've tried to go to PAX South every year that I can. And yeah, I absolutely loved it. And through that as well, I think I've made a online family as much as I have a real family. I've met people from all over the world. I've got friends in Canada. I've got friends in Europe, Australia. Just craziness, man. Like, there's so many different people all over the world that get connected through gaming and also through the military. I've met a lot of people that are all over the place in the military as well. Like, I've met people from all across the U.S. I've met people from India. I've met people from Malaysia through the military. I've met people from New Zealand, Australia again. It's just crazy how I'm in these two like diverse worlds at the same time that most people don't think are connected. Gaming and the military are usually thought of as separate. You think of Call of Duty, you think of the military, but not really. But I mean, the topic. Oh, hey, here's a cat. Hi, Roxy. Don't put your butthole to the camera. Okay, she's just gonna hang out my lap. But like, I feel like a lot of people don't realize that video games are like embedded into the military. Like we all have a lot of free time. Like it's like the biggest disconnect, I think, with the general population. Population. God, words are hard. And in the military is like we all play video games. We all have hobbies and do all this crazy stuff on the side. Some like there's music artists in the military. There's people that hunt and fish as their hobby. There are people that paint, the people that create artwork and do all this crazy stuff. And like gaming isn't that far off from that. Like it's a hobby. And I was a gamer for a year before I joined the Army, PC gamer a year before I joined the Army, and streaming for a year before the Army. I've been gaming since I was younger, but that was like N64 kind of stuff. And when I got into the military, like I was kind of of the same mindset. It was like, I'm giving up gaming. Excuse me, just burping on the podcast. And I didn't think that I was going to be able to do what I was doing at the time while I was in. But then when I went in, I realized that it's a job, and you have a lot of, like, obviously when you're done working, you go home and do what you want to do. I mean, there are people that do dumb stuff when they're off work, like go out and go get drunk and get stabbed by somebody or pick fights or whatever. But I picked gaming. I did a lot of gaming for the Army, and I figured that, now that I realized that I had time in the military to do what I want outside of my job, I could continue to game and continue to stream, which I did from my barracks room for a year and a half before I got married, and or a year and a half before I moved in with my wife. And yeah, it's just crazy world. So yeah, I don't know. It's just the military is brought so much into my life, and gaming has brought probably just as much into my life with experiences and things like that. I've met people that were in places that I never thought I'd be able to meet them, like PlayerUnknown, the guy that made PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds. I've met him in real life. And through the military, I've met people that have taught me more things than I ever thought I'd need to know. Like driving, I have my CDL license, which is like your 18-wheeler truck driver license that I got through the Army, which is part of my job now, actually. I drive a truck for the Army, as well as commentating and production and streaming and all that cool stuff. And being able to have the two together now, like when I do streams for the Army, I get to meet all these crazy people. Like I play with Stone Mountain 64 on Fridays. I play Call of Duty with him, which is like crazy. I've met Pestily through a convention that I was at for the Army. I've met so many crazy people. I've met the guys that own the brand Grunt Style, which is like they make like the t-shirts that you see all the the Army guys wearing all the time that have like the crossed rifles on the shoulder. I've met those guys, and I had a really great time out drinking with them. That whole story is actually crazy. I was in San Antonio, again, PAX South, look at that. And I was at a bar with a group of my internet friends, and I was out front, and I was smoking a cigarette and talking to some of my friends, and the guy behind me, he was big buff dude. It's probably like 6'2", 6'3", standing behind me. I hear his buddy go, "Hey man, can I get a cigarette off you?" And this guy goes, "Oh, I'm on my last one." I turn around, I pull out my pack, and I pull like 5 cigarettes, and I'm like, "Here." I was like, "Just you can take these. Just how I am." And I was like, "Yo, just take them to last the rest of the night, whatever." And he's like, "Man, thank you so much." And he looks at me, and he's like, "What branch you in?" And I was like, "Oh, I'm Army." And he's like, "Oh, I was in the Marine Corps." And the other guy's like, "Yeah, I was in the Army." And it's funny, that dynamic between these two, because one dude is huge, and the other guy is like shorter than I am. I'm 5'8", and this guy was like 5'4", and they're both super buff. And we got to like talking, and they told me like, "Yeah, we're from Grunt Style." And I was like, "Oh, cool. I've seen your shirts and ads and stuff on Facebook, and I think I actually own one of the shirts, and one or two." And we just talking throughout the night and everything. Ended up buying me a beer. We hung out for a bit, and then they brought us to like this patio bar. And at that patio bar, I was with a couple of the Twitch guys. They just start like pounding whiskey, and one of them ends up, actually I think it was Penta, who's a Twitch streamer, bought a round of like 25 picklebacks. And if you don't know what a pickleback is, it sounds weird when it gets explained to you, but it's actually like super delicious. It's it's a shot of Jameson coupled with a shot of pickle juice, and you take the shot of Jameson and then you chase it with the pickle juice, and it tastes absolutely delicious. If you've never tried a pickleback, I highly advise you to go out and buy a jar of dill pickles and a bottle of Jameson and have a great night. No, but order one at a bar or something. That's really good. And I ended up getting absolutely trashed with these guys, and hung out with them for like a whole it's like a whole night. And it was all just off the chance that I was there at a convention. I was there for the Army, but I didn't have to work because I drove the truck there, so it was a weird dynamic. But I was really there in my own time in that sense, and kind of like off on a weekend, if that makes any sense. And got to hang out with my internet friends, but also meet some people through the military. So it was kind of crazy. And like they were there for I don't think they were there for the actual convention. I think they were there because they worked in the city, and then the convention was in town, so they were like stopping by at the bars to go check out what was going on and everything. So, and so I made some pretty cool friends there. Other stuff like that, like just going out and seeing like creators that I've known from when I first started gaming that I never thought I'd be able to meet in real life, like Gassy Mexican, Gold Glove, and a lot of those guys. Just like seeing them in real life, it was like, whoa, shit, it's crazy. It's just like celebrity stuff. Was crazy. And it's just a lot of the opportunities I've had in the military, and again in gaming, have let me see and experience a lot of stuff that I never thought I would, and I wouldn't take any of it back. I think that I'm really glad to be involved in like both of those experiences at the same time. Both sides of that coin, I guess, the coin of me. I also do music stuff, which I want to get back into because I haven't been doing it as much as I thought I was going to, or as much as I want to, not as much as I thought I was going to. Play 7 instruments. If you're watching a video form of this, you can see I've got a ukulele, a mandolin, my bass, and then I've got my guitar right here. I call her the Ignorant Slut because I've got a sticker on the head of the guitar that says Ignorant Slut, so therefore it's the Ignorant Slut. It's got rainbow strings on it, and it's sticker bombed, and I love it. I want to get back into like making more music and stuff. I haven't done that in a bit, or not necessarily making more music, but playing. So start pumping some of that out and getting some more practice in and going on with all that stuff. It's like a great time to do it right now with all the stuff going on in the world. The big old coronavirus taking over the world, killing everybody. Wear a fucking mask. That's all I have to say. I'm just a little commentator boy, military guy, chilling. And if I could pass one thing around the world, it's wear a fucking mask. Because, you may not believe in the whole hoax of the whole thing. But when it comes down to it, like, if obviously the coronavirus is real, right? It's real. I never see someone online that's saying it's fake. Whenever they talk about, like, the hoax, they talk about, like, the fact of, I guess how do I word this? they talk about like the fact of like it's not as big of a deal as people say it is, and that it doesn't kill young kids are fine. And it's like, yeah, well, they opened up all the schools, a bunch of people got sick and they had to close the schools back down, you fucking idiots. Like all these states that are opening back up and they're like, yeah, we're fine, and then a bunch of people get sick and die, and it's like just wear a mask. Like, if you want to do the bare minimum to help out the guy to your left and your right, just wear a mask. Like, it doesn't hurt you. It's not going to kill you as much as people are out there saying it's going to kill you. Anyways, it's not going to kill you. It's just, it's like washing your hands after touching your dick, right? Just fucking wash your hands. Just wear a mask. It's not that big of a deal. Whether your state says it's like mandatory or not, just be considerate of people around you. Like, if you go out and you don't wear a mask and let's say you work with children, right? Because perfect example, like you're a teacher and you work with kids. It's not so much necessarily getting those kids sick. It's the people that they're going to be in contact with. Let's say little Timmy gets, I'm sorry going off in a rant in the middle of this, but I mean, whatever. It makes sense to me. It's going to happen. This is what we're talking about now, okay? It's the point of a podcast. So little Timmy decides that he wants to do kid stuff, and he gets all dirty and shit. And you as a teacher are like, hey, knock it off, kid, but you're yelling at him not wearing a mask, and then you spray your fucking phlegm and shit from your mouth all over this kid while you're yelling at him. And then he gets the fucking coronavirus because your ass went to a bar last night without putting a mask on, and you got it. And you don't know you have because you're a healthy young adult, and now you've got this kid that's got the coronavirus, and you're like, oh, well, he'll be fine. He's young and he's resilient. Ugh. All that bullshit. Whatever. Well, he goes home to mom and dad. And this is also after he has given it to 5 other kids during the same day. Let's say 5 kids go home who all have 2 parents. So now you've got those 5 kids, plus their 2 parents each. So that's 15 people, right? Or sorry, math is hard. No, yeah, 15, because, 3 times 5, because there's 3 people. 2 per 5. Anyways, 15 people. All those 15 people go out to, let's say 3 of those families are people that don't believe in wearing masks, right? So those 3 families go out and they decide, hey, we're going to go to a restaurant. And they go there without wearing masks because they're assholes. And now that person at the table next to them has 3 times more of a chance to get that shit than just having one person, right? Or let's say little Timmy goes home and he doesn't give mom and dad the virus, even though mom and dad would be more susceptible to actually getting symptoms and possibly having medical conditions because of it. But he goes home and he lives with grandpa and grandma, right? Which grandma and grandma are a lot more susceptible to fucking dying from this fucking virus. And he goes home and kisses grandma goodnight at the end of the day. And now he has passed this shit that you've given to this kid to his grandmother. And now this kid, who's relying on grandpa and grandma to raise him because mom and dad are fucking cunts, who knows? And now you've just killed his fucking grandmother or put his grandmother in a hospital because your ass doesn't want to wear a fucking mask. I don't know, dude. It makes sense to me. I may just be rambling about it, but like, just wear a fucking mask. Like, what the fuck, dude? Like, is it that much of a hindrance in your life to not wear a mask? Like, really? Holy shit. I will do an entire fucking podcast or a stream in a fucking mask. It is not that big of a deal. Jesus Christ. Anyways, I'm getting mad now. Want to say hi to my cats? Look, hey, want to say hi? Kitty. This is Roxy. She's my girl cat. And she looks very amused right now. Look at her face. Hi. Anyways, that's Roxy. Kurt's over there. He's the fat one with the curly tail. It's actually not curled on purpose. It's broken in like 4 places. That makes a little curly cue. Isn't that right, buddy? He's looking at me from behind my desk right now. Yeah, these are my little babies. My babies. Hi. Yeah, you'll see them frequent my office, most likely. It's just what they do. But yeah, anyways, I think my chaotic rambling is almost done, right? I don't know. I was thinking about doing like guests as well for the podcast, and I think the first one, which would be a great guest, would be my wife. Maybe like next week we do Grace, have Grace come on here and talk, and I'll like build up a notepad full of questions or something, or maybe I'll tweet it out. I don't know. I don't have a big following anywhere, so this is gonna probably fall on deaf ears, but I'm totally fine with that. I wanted to like have a place to sit down and put my thoughts down, or out there in the world. So that's kind of gonna be the plan for this. I think for the future is just my chaotic ramblings every week out there in the world. Yeah, if you guys have any questions, or if I don't know if you want to be a fucking guest or some shit, you can tweet at me or follow my Twitch if you want to see more of my mouth make noises. At the 8track, so TheEighttTrack on Instagram and Twitter, and then my Twitch is 8track EIGHTTRACK. There's two T's in the middle of that, so it's EIGHTTRACK. So it's like there's no obviously where the space would be. It's not one word with one T. It's both words. There's just no space. So yeah, you can go check that out. And thank you guys for listening to me ramble for like 25 minutes, whatever the fuck this is. I know it's a little bit short, but again, it's an introductory podcast, so I don't think it was going to be too crazy at the very beginning. But yeah, thank you guys for listening and / watching. If you're watching this somewhere else, I don't even know if I'll ever upload a video version of this, but yeah, I appreciate it, and I will see you guys next week, because I'm gonna do this weekly, I think, possibly. All right, anyways, bye.